This is a tough one. At the center of a triple murder trial underway in Massachusetts is a medical diagnosis and a powerful antipsychotic drug. According to prosecutors, Lindsay Clancy deliberately and meticulously killed her 3 children in January of 2023. Prosecutors say she strangled them using exercise bands before attempting to kill herself by jumping from a second-story window. She's now paralyzed from the fall. Her defense attorneys, while not disputing that Lindsay killed her children, are arguing that she was experiencing postpartum psychosis and should not be held criminally responsible for the deaths. This week, Lindsay's husband, Patrick, testified that Lindsay struggled after the birth of her 3rd child. She reported feeling anxiety and sleeplessness, according to her attorneys, and that her condition took a big spiral after she started taking a powerful medication used to treat psychosis. He says the medication made her depressed, her depression severe, gave her suicidal and intrusive thoughts, some even about harming her children. And at one point during the testimony, her husband said she was prescribed 10 different medications. He says he had no idea which ones she was taking. Lindsay's husband also testified that he never saw Lindsay harm their children. Her attorneys say she deeply loved and cared for them and tried very hard to get the help she needed. Criminal defense attorney Josh Ritter joins us now. Josh, first of all, it's hard to find a case more disturbing than this one. But there are a lot of really interesting and fascinating legal situations in this case. For one, what does the prosecution have to prove here? Because Lindsay has already said that admitted to killing her 3 children, but she's charged with first-degree murder. So I know that the prosecution says that she meticulously did this. How are they going about trying to do that?
Yeah, it's an incredibly dense and very emotionally charged case. It's going to be very difficult for jurors to sit through this one and eventually deliberate. Prosecution has to prove not only that she committed the crime, which they've essentially admitted, but that she did so in a way that she understood the wrongfulness of her actions at that time. The defense is obviously saying that she could not appreciate what she was doing because she was suffering from this postpartum psychosis and from misdiagnosis by her current physicians who were treating her for this psychosis, that they were either over-prescribing her or under-prescribing her medications, giving her wrong medications that was causing her mental illness to further devolve, further spiral out of control, so that she was simply becoming untethered from reality and starting to have auditory hallucinations. Here's the problem, and where it becomes very nuanced for jurors. Those are not mutually exclusive concepts. A person can be suffering from psychosis. They can be having hallucinations. They can be believing that they are being told to take the lives of their own children and, in fact, their own life, and still appreciate that what they're doing is wrong. The way the prosecutors are trying to prove that to jurors is through her actions that morning. They believe that her actions and planning provide circumstantial evidence of her state of mind. There's evidence that she sent her husband out on an errand that morning and that she actually looked at a map to see how long it would take him. The idea being that she wanted him out of the house so that she could commit these horrific crimes because, and this is where it becomes important, she wanted him out of the house because she knew that he would think it was wrong, that he would try to stop her, that he would prevent her, therefore giving jurors the idea that she knew, even in the midst of this psychosis, that the act she was committing was a criminal act or a wrong act. It's going to be very difficult because you've got a woman who has suffered a tremendous loss. She's paralyzed herself. Her husband, who testified as the first witness, it was incredibly emotional testimony. It's a very difficult trial.
Have you ever seen a case like this where the husband, the father here, Patrick Clancy, has forgiven his ex-wife, has written that I wasn't married to a monster, I was married to someone who got sick? He is the star witness for both the prosecution and the defense. I mean, have you ever seen something like that? And how do you think that's going to play to whose benefit here?
Never seen anything like it. And you can only imagine that it would play towards her benefit. He was a very, by the way, sympathetic witness. If you listen to his testimony, it's hard to get through it without getting caught up in the emotions yourself, talking about he was the one that discovered the children. He arrived home, found his wife outside paralyzed, went back inside the home and discovered the children, tried to administer aid. The 911 call that was played that he made in court court was just really difficult for everyone to get through. There wasn't really any dry eyes inside of that courtroom. But it's like you said, he's in support of her. He describes this kind of continuing and a devolving mental state that she was having at that time, and he doesn't blame her. So prosecutors put him on first, logically, because he lays out the entire case for them, but then they, to some extent, were cross-examining him because he's not in support of this prosecution.
A lot of this is going to come down to the emotions of this jury, it seems. They're sitting there, they're seeing the mother who killed her 3 children, paralyzed from her own suicide attempt in a wheelchair. They've listened to the 911 calls. They're seeing a broken-hearted father, and this jury went to the house and visited the home themselves. So you imagine all of that is going to play in the minds of this jury. It should last about 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm sure we'll have you, Josh, follow it throughout. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.